Welcome to the Disrupt Now podcast, episode 85.
What makes people excited is progress. You don't have to be at the goal yet to feel alive again. You have to be progress.
Just do right. Right may not be expedient. It may not be profitable, but it will satisfy your soul.
What matters most is finding your inner purpose.
Welcome to the Disrupt Now podcast, created by Natalie Viglione. This podcast is designed to help humans embrace change, transform, and evolve. Natalie is a cycle breaker, truth seeker, a priestess and healer, teacher, and a guide. This podcast's intent is to live and breathe truth, find and connect with authentic stories, and help raise consciousness. The purpose is to heal and awaken humans, to help you live the life that you want to live. A life of freedom and purpose. This will provide you with the tools, tips, and techniques to help you embrace the fact that it's necessary to disrupt the status quo. Please join Natalie and her guests on the journey to move humanity to a much higher level of consciousness and create more mindful conversations for us to explore together.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Disrupt Now podcast. So I have a really exciting episode today with Erika Flint. So she is my first hypnotherapist on the show, which I'm like, wow, how did that happen? But I want to introduce Erika, and then we're going to dive in because we need to strip apart what is hypnosis and really get the insider scoop, because Erika's a world-renowned hypnotist. So we're going to get it straight from the source of all the things around hypnotherapy, which is going to be so magical. I already know. So Erika is an award-winning hypnotherapist, and she's also a best-selling author. And we're going to talk about her books today as well. And I would love, for us to dive into her brain, which is she loves to talk about how to take control of the part of your brain that's most likely being driven by someone else, making decisions, informing limiting thoughts, taking space in your relationships, and living rent-free in your mind, which is a really important thing for all of us right now. Erika, I'm so excited to have you on. I can't wait to talk about your books. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Natalie. It's great to be here. And you're right. I love talking about the brain. I love talking about consciousness and hypnosis and heart-centered approaches to helping people. So I'm just excited to be here.
Oh, these things are so needed, so needed. So always have been needed. But, I think we're in a time of great awakening into all things. So let's talk about awakening, because obviously this path is led by probably profound experiences, right, all kinds of things. So how did you drive into the hypnotist realm and become a hypnotherapist?
Yeah, I mean, it happened, almost, 8 years ago. I had been working for corporate America. I was living in Silicon Valley. Great job, great benefits. Everything checked off the list that we are supposed to do, married, and, the house, the cars, the career, all of that stuff. And I found myself really unhappy. And I think, there's always that, yep, I'll be happy when, And you get to this place, you're like, okay, the house, the car, everything. And you check everything off. And it's like, I'm not happy. Like, I'm not fulfilled. And I didn't realize it until, I think a lot of people go through this. At any rate, I went through a really, really, really low point. And I ended up in the hospital. I ended up drinking too much. And this was, just something that I was seeking. I was seeking a different way to live. And I had lost my spirituality through the course of getting into corporate America, and just really kind of chased the whole dream, the whole kind of American dream. And it didn't bring me that happiness. So I did end up in the emergency room and wearing one of those stupid gowns, sitting on the gurney that barely covers your body, my feet swinging off the end of it. And, my parents were there and family. It was really humbling and embarrassing, yeah. But I had to decide, I was going to kill myself with alcohol one way or the other. This was it, right? I had to have a new place, a new way to be, a new way to live. And Yeah, I hopped off that gurney. The moment I hopped off the gurney, I felt the entire force of the universe behind me. I mean, I really felt it. I was like, I am deciding, I'm deciding to live. And the word decide is really cool because the root of it means to cut off. And when you honestly can make a decision in your heart and your mind, and it's just like, this is no longer an option for me anymore, I had so much energy and so much power. And in that moment, that's when the entire world opened up to me. And I started seeing things that I hadn't seen in the past that led me to discovering hypnosis. I'll just pause there because I know that's a lot. But that was kind of the beginning of what opened my eyes to, I need a new way to live.
Wow. Yes, that is a profound experience. And I so resonate with your feelings of being like, I was also in corporate America before I started this 5+, little over 5 years ago. And I always thought about it probably in the way that we often experience. It's like your soul is being separated from your body, and spirituality somehow is like completely gone. And
yeah, I found I was lost.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I was at a place where I realized that my soul, that I didn't have spirituality. Like there was a real dark period where I wasn't even aware that I had that missing in my life, Right. And then once I awoken to that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm missing this. I thought that this whole corporate thing and the fulfillment and helping others and making enough money to have the things I wanted so I didn't worry, I thought that would bring me the fulfillment, right? But no, it didn't.
Right. The paychecks just don't, unfortunately, match it's like, well, I should be as happy as big as my paycheck is getting, right?
Well, we definitely don't want to have to stress about things, right? I mean, there's a period of time that we all go through, perhaps in college or perhaps when we're just starting out. When I was in college, I took a quarter off and I went to live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And I had so little money. Now, this was probably 1993, but I went to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico with $800 and lived there for almost 3 months.
That's awesome.
And I spent, I think, like $1 peso. It was $1 US a day was was the amount of money that I could spend. And so I spent a lot of time trying to budget, right?
Yep.
And so that I didn't starve. And, anyway, my point is, when we don't have enough money, we do spend time thinking about how are we going to do those things. So there's I think a rationality to it that if I'm not worried about how I'm going to pay my bills, I'll have more time to focus on my creativity and those things. And there is truth in that. There's truth in that for sure, but it doesn't take you all the way to fulfillment or self-actualization if that's what you're going for. Right.
Exactly. So stepping into hypnosis, was this actually part of your healing journey or?
Yeah, it was. I knew I needed another way to be and live, but I wasn't actually planning on changing careers. Because I really still did appreciate and enjoy my job, and the people that I worked with were fantastic, right? When you're working and you're doing cool work with cool people and you're getting paid well, I mean, that's a great experience. I wasn't planning on leaving my job, but I did need something in my life that I found that I felt was more fulfilling. So I looked into things like, energy work and yoga and, kind of like I had been a marathoner. And so I was like, okay, what else is there? The interesting thing is when I found hypnosis, I knew it clicked because of my experience in software. I mean, I hadn't made this connection before. And my previous understanding of hypnosis as being, it's somebody up on stage making people do silly things. That's what I thought hypnosis was.
Sure, yeah.
Right? And I think a lot of people think that's what it is too, but it's not. What hypnosis really is, hypnosis gives us the power to reprogram our own inner operating system. So we now become really the software programmer of our own kind of behaviors, right? Now, it doesn't have to be technical or difficult. It can actually be very easy to do. But when I figured that out, I was like, oh my gosh, all my years in software engineering, and now we can help program the brain with pattern matching. We can help program the brain with executable, repeatable functions. And then it's like, that's the way the brain's already operating. So let's harness the power of the mind, right? We do it in every other area of our life, things that we really care about. We'll get to bed on time. We will go to the gym. We'll eat whatever it is that we care about. There are a lot of things that we can do to really sharpen and enhance our mental capacities and emotional capacities so that we are truly fulfilled.
Exactly. Yes. And that's actually what we're talking about. So paychecks can be as high, whatever. It's really not wrapped around that. It's the fulfillment. Right. It's feeling like you're driving something forward and feeling fully, that's really hard to say, fulfilled. And so when we're off in that, we can have all the best things on paper. We can have the best corporate job. We can work with the best people in the world. But if we're not feeling that way, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. So totally makes sense, your background. And it is reprogramming. That's an amazing way to look at it. And I think, it is so easy. Like we went to, there's a big traveling, what are those medieval festivals, right? I have to, I adore those. However, they have a hypnotherapist, and I'm just sitting there going, oh my God, this is so not hypnotherapy, but okay, ha ha ha, very funny. But that really does give it this flavor of like, it's an entertainment rather than like a serious modality of healing, retraining your brain, stepping into your power. So
right. And there, and so hypnosis, there has traditionally always been some element of that entertainment piece of it. And we are more and more hypnotists are choosing not to do what that's called stage hypnosis. By the way.
Yeah.
And so, I have a lot of friends who are stage hypnotists who are also hypnotists in the office, Now some people call it clinical hypnotist. I don't tend to use that word because clinical tends to remind people of medical. And hypnosis isn't designed to be medical. Hypnosis is designed for whomever the person is with, that's wanting hypnosis to be able to do what they haven't been able to do in the past. Now, some people do come in and want to do things like reduce the sensation of pain in their body. Some people do want medical types of things like a pre-surgery or a post-surgery, that type of a thing. But I still don't want to use the term clinical and give people the idea that it's a medical practice, because normally it's not. It's a mental practice. It's something where we are harnessing the power of our thought processes. They say right now, I don't know how they get this information, but 95% of our behavior is driven from subconscious, right? Now, I do know a little bit about how they're doing that. They are recognizing what's going on in the brain before we are conscious of being able to make a decision. That's how they're directing that. But 95%, I'm not quite sure how they get that number. But wouldn't it be nice if we could control more, right? Right. And so what's happening is in hypnosis, we get to interface with the subconscious information that is really driving that behavior.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So, a lot of people will say, well, how does hypnosis work? Right. Like what's it actually like?
Yep.
For my clients who want to lose weight, their experience is they just don't want to eat anymore. So, the idea is, what do you do? Well, we almost always do what we feel, right? I mean, in an ideal world, I only do things that I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like working out today, right? I feel like eating healthy. I feel like showing up and doing this awesome podcast with you because we get to help more people. That's the attitude that we want, right? I feel like doing it. And so it's really awesome because when, clients come to work with me to lose weight or whatever, it's like, I didn't eat healthy today because I didn't feel like it, right? So hypnosis, we get to change that feeling space. And so it becomes so easy because then, you ask people, how did you lose the weight? Oh, I just felt like eating healthy. I just felt like it. It's easy to do things when you feel like it. So we get to shift that place that's driving a lot of our behavior. And that's really lovely for a lot of our clients.
I dare say that this piece of transforming in our lives is one of the most important pieces because if our thoughts don't match our actions and our words, then we're completely, utterly, totally, absolutely out of alignment.
Yeah, out of integrity. We tend to allow ourselves to feel bad about ourselves. We would tend to allow negative self-talk to take place because the conscious mind would have very good reason to point and say, you committed to that. You said you'd do that and you're not doing it. So it's out of integrity.
Yep.
And so we beat ourselves up. We have to watch those things.
Oh yeah. And, myself included, like it's very interesting when you're literally thinking something else and your actions aren't matching it, going, wow, well, I may say fuck it because like whatever, even though I know best in here, like my actions just aren't matching those words. I remember, after go out after work and being, pissed off and having a drink and sitting there and just being like, you know what, fuck it. Okay.
Yep. And how did you feel the next day?
Like shit, worse than the day before, right?
So that's what we would work on, right? That's what we would work on. So we would try to get to that place where you're feeling fuck it. You're feeling it. You're feeling the fuck it. And then we would explore that. Now, I'll tell you something. Most people don't like to explore it, or they like to explore it from a state of kind of anger and kind of like the feelings that go along with it to be expressed. But I'll tell you something. If you can sit in the fuck it without allowing your nervous system to get too upset, it will dissipate. 15 seconds. Our feelings last for about 15 seconds. This is such an important hack. If you can hang in there for approximately 15 seconds without a knee-jerk reaction, without a shot of tequila, a cigarette, frappuccino, whatever it is you got going on, right? If you can do that, you will increase your power in life, like infinitely, because you will just be able to weather that storm. Neuroscientists used to think it was 90 seconds. I mean, because if you think about this, okay, and most people aren't aware that it actually costs the body resources to have us feel a feeling. Yeah, it's a feedback loop. So it costs the body energy to have us experience a certain feeling. And when we keep shoving it down, it's like the emotions keep knocking on the door to try to get us to answer, but we don't. And then we feel as if it keeps happening. Well, just answer the door. Yep. That's it. It'll go away. Right. Now we do have to address things, right? So for example, that kind of idea is kind of like when we need to use the restroom, but we're sitting in the car. Right. It's like, hey, don't think about it. Next exit. Right. Yeah. We are going to address it though. Right. But sitting there thinking about in the car, oh man, I have to go to the bathroom. Oh man, I have to go to the bathroom. That just makes it worse. Right? It does. Yeah. So we need techniques in the moment to, sit through it. And then we're going to use really good hypnosis techniques to address it and get rid of it. Yeah. Right? Then it's not going to come up again.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I think what's interesting is let's be real, there's so many naysayers kind of around this, right? But we love them because then
and there are fewer and fewer naysayers. As a matter of fact, now are just kind of making fun of, they'll be like, oh, I want to hypnotize her hair. Like they'll make fun of my hair. Or, oh, is she going to make me cluck like a dog? Or, I mean, the jokes and the naysayers are getting, like their argument is kind of falling flat. I mean, I'm serious.
I would say so.
Well, I can tell you this, we've been doing ads. This is where it shows up. We've been doing ads online for years, right? And I mean, if you can imagine running hypnosis Facebook ads, like what are the comments you get on a hypnosis?
Oh, the gamut, right?
We get a lot of haters and I don't even watch them anymore. I don't even listen to our comments anymore because people, they just say, but there's just fewer and fewer of them. Yeah. Fewer and fewer of them because I don't know if it is COVID or what, but people are not trusting in standard approaches as much anymore. They really are seeking. But here's the thing that I noticed more than anything else. People are taking personal responsibility because they're really recognizing that, hey, if this is going to happen, it's going to be me. And so, we're busy at the Hypnosis Center. Our training classes are full. People are really stepping in and saying, I need to have control over my own stuff. Right. Yes. Which is beautiful. And in a world where everyone's taking responsibility for their own health
and just standing in truth. I mean, imagine how the whole, all of humanity will just be in a better place, vibrate higher. I mean, it's just, the possibilities are endless.
That's right.
It's amazing. Right. So I love your heart-centered, that approach and this deprogramming really. What are some, simple techniques that you can
I'll teach you the alpha sequence.
Cool. Okay.
All right. So you guys can follow along. You can follow along, but this is a hypnotic technique. So don't do it, in the car or driving or anything like that. Super easy to do. That's why I love to teach it. It's 4 steps. All right. Very first step, I want you to close your eyes. Okay. All right. So I'm going to keep talking through this as we do it. But the reason I want you to close your eyes is our brain processes about 20% of the information is coming through our visual cortex. Now, when you close your eyes, you're basically turning down a dimmer switch. And we all kind of know what that's like, right? At the end of the day, you kind of turn the dimmer down and it kind of sets the mood. So closing your eyes, it kind of does that. And it will naturally bring you into what's called an alpha brainwave state, which is a daydreamy, kind of a flowy state. All right. So the next step, relax your jaw. And your jaw might just hang there. You talk a lot for a living, right? You got this podcast. So, and I'm a hypnotist. I talk a lot too, right? So people who are professional speakers, bloggers, entrepreneurs, we speak a lot, right? So just allow your jaw to hang there. What this does is it engages the vagus nerve and it sends a signal all the way through your entire body. It's telling your body now is the time to relax. So it's actually signaling the parasympathetic response to your body when you open your mouth like that, when you drop your jaw. Now, the next thing I want you to do is gradually slow down your breathing. And this can have such an important and powerful impact. Our nervous system really is controlled by our breath. And so what I want you to focus on is a very long and slow exhalation. If there's nothing else that you can remember, 2 long, slow exhalations will bring you into a calm state in about 10 seconds. Okay. Now, the last thing I want you to do is imagine relaxing the back of your tongue. And this is an interesting suggestion, but for now, just imagine that your tongue is a nice soft pillow, or you're just tucking it into bed. Maybe it wants to go to the roof of your mouth, but the reality is you're decoupling it from the part of your mind that's preparing to speak. And so when you do this and relax the back of the tongue, there's nothing for your tongue to do, no thing in particular at all. And it gives your mind a sense of spaciousness and freedom. And so one more time, take in a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, just feel a sense of spaciousness. And when you're feeling better, open your eyes. All right, very good. So that's the alpha sequence. It brings you into an alpha brainwave state. And the reason it's so important is because we've been practicing anxiety, most of us, for so long. This technique will help your mind and your brain bring you back into homeostasis, alpha brainwave state. If you were to practice this 5, 6, 7 times a day, what you'd notice in 3 days' time is you are more focused, you're sleeping better, and you have more energy. And it's easier for you to follow through on the things that you want to do. And this is what I think we need to be doing every day, right? Yeah. Just these little things all day long, right?
Yes. Yeah. retraining completely.
In the brain. Yeah.
So getting to the sound, you dove right into this world. I mean, were you doing hypnotherapy, or were you learning about it previous to your dive in?
No, but I'd always been interested in consciousness and I'd always been just really kind of interested in the brain. I mean, I had read books on neurotransmitters and kind of like, I mean, just things about the brain my whole life, and mathematics and just, kind of cool stuff. But never really understood what hypnosis really was until I took that class. So actually, the book that I read that really opened my mind was Stroke of Insight by Dr. Jill. Is it Dr. Jill Boynton? Is that right? My Stroke of Insights. She had a stroke. I think she's a neuroscientist, and she had a stroke. And so it's kind of like her And she's recognizing that she's having a stroke while she's having a stroke. And it just
Whoa, yeah.
reignited my love of the brain. And,
Yeah.
another kind of interesting twist in this story is that I had been relatively kind of happy, I suppose. I was running the New York Marathon. So, working for corporate America, and I was training for this marathon. And the New York Marathon, I'm not a super fast runner, so you can. It's a lottery, so
Yes,
you can either
yep.
be super fast or you can enter the lottery. So
Yeah.
I entered the lottery. By the third year, you're automatically in. If you didn't get in the first 2 years, you're automatically in the third year. So the third year of the lottery, I think it was like May, I broke my ankle. I broke my ankle. No, I broke my foot. I broke my foot in two places and really pulled my ankle. And so I couldn't train. And so that's when I started reading, which led me to hypnosis, which is just, it's really interesting because I was so frustrated at the time that I had been planning and training, and it was May, June, July, I think is it October? Anyway, it was
somewhere
3 or
around there,
4 months away. It was but I had that suffering and that low point, and then that recognition of I can't run. I think running was my spirituality, right? I'm getting outside. I'm in
Yes.
the park, and so it's kind of loosely feeding that need in me. And then when I couldn't run anymore, I was so miserable.
So interesting. So I did the San Francisco marathon, like, sometime in the mid 2000s, but I dove in. I love running, and I herniated my disc and couldn't walk for like a month. And, it's been, so to me, that is like where you can transcend. You're in just this mode of like, wow, it is amazing. And that state, especially when you run long distances, it's almost like you're in a trance, almost like you're not connected.
Yeah.
Yes, I hear that. that.
Yeah. So, I thought it was a terrible thing, but in the end, I ended up, that injury I got a whole new career, and it's what changed my life. So.
And that's absolutely me.
Yeah.
In these darkest of moments, we find the light.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful story.
Yeah. Yeah. You hit, you have to find a way, right? You have to find a way out.
Do.
So I'm stuck there on the couch, both my feet. I mean, my left foot is broken in two places. My right foot severely injured. So I just sat there, read and learned to draw. But yeah.
Wow.
So many people. And now is the time for people. I think a lot of folks, why we're so busy at the Hypnosis Center, why so many people are training with us, they want a new way. They want an elevated way to get the relief that they want. They want to turn around and be able to help people with hypnosis. They want the same type of thing. They want to be in the present moment, and they want to help people, right? So
totally.
It's been nice.
Powerful, so powerful. And that's so good to hear. I'm hearing this from so many different people, so many different modalities of healing, and the fact that this is the level is raising.
Yeah.
It matches what we intuitively, and understand what's happening. But when you have that data and real feedback to actually match, it's awesome. So you're a trainer of hypnotists now, and so what is some of that kind of secret softish, if you can share a little bit, about like how the industry as a total is evolving, not even just the people, but like hypnotists in general, and are you seeing transformation even in that realm?
Yeah. I mean, I think, a little bit about what I said earlier. I think a lot of folks were seeing hypnosis as like stage hypnosis in Las Vegas and those types of things. And there's more and more people coming out. My mission really is to help 1 million people with hypnosis. And in order to do that, I'm going to train 1,000 hypnotists. Each of them are going to help 1,000 people. We're over 200 right now. And so every day we're getting feedback from our grads who are out there helping people. Right. And this is lasting change, right? It's not a pill. So I'm not going to say that the work is easy. But it's definitely easier than living with a problem for the rest of your life, right? And so there's definitely some level of vulnerability. There's a level of being open, and people kind of hanging on to their problems, being scared for something better. Like, that's true. There is some of that. But I can tell you, when people go through the process of hypnosis, there is an ineffable quality to it that is just like they get their life back in a very significant way. And for a lot of people, there becomes kind of the before and after. Oh, that was before hypnosis. Oh, that was after hypnosis. Then I kind of settled things. I had a new way of looking at my entire life. I understood the pain from my past. Didn't need to think about that anymore. I'm not worried about my future. I kind of feel like I'm in a really good place, right?
Right. And are you seeing more teacher, like, is there more interest in like becoming teachers to really help spread the wisdom and knowledge of what it really is? Are you seeing that as well?
Yeah. Well, I mean, every hypnotist, a lot of what we're doing is teaching the public or teaching other hypnotists, or a lot of us are teaching, I have a stress buster workshop that I teach. I teach a lot of classes on the other books right here I'm pointing to, Reprogram Your Weight and Lighter on how to lose weight. So there's a lot of teaching that goes into this. And I think, one way that hypnosis can be described is accelerated learning. And when we can learn things really quickly, that feels really good. So what types of things are we talking about learning really quickly? Well, we're talking about normal things. So, my hypnosis training course is starting on Sunday. We teach the class hypnotically. There's lots of repetition, lots of breaks. We do things very specifically so that it is easy to memorize, and we reduce any of the outside distractions and other things. So we create a really good learning environment. And it's done hypnotically. But the things that I think are really, really important are how quickly we can retrain our nervous system and how quickly we can retrain our habitual things, like not eating until we're hungry, not getting upset when someone yells at us because they have their own problem, right? So there are things that we can learn really fast that are make our lives better.
Right.
Practical things that make our lives better immediately.
Right. And I really love your approach to this as like as being a developer, recoding, coding.
Right. And it's them, right? So just to be clear, really, I'm giving my clients the tools so that they can recognize what their brain is doing. So they're like, oh my gosh, there was negative I could see okay. And now they can watch their mind at work and they can make the slight adjustments, and it's easy. We're not really talking about programming. It's just
exactly.
Words.
Yeah.
It's words in your mind.
You don't have to become a developer to do this. Well, let's talk about your books a little bit, because you mentioned them, Lighter, Reprogramming Your Weight. Can you be a hypnotist? And then you have a new book that's coming out.
My new book is going to come out next month. It's called The Academy of Eternity. I'm really excited about this one because first of all, it's fiction. And the reason we wrote it fiction, so my co-author, Sarah Solstice, she's a vocalist, an artist, a performer. She's fantastic. She's amazing. She brings the heaven. I got the neuroscience, and the combination of the two is just fantastic, because the idea is that heaven is on earth right now when you watch for it. And when you know what to watch for it and you look for the miracles and you stack them together and you connect them, you start living your life from one serendipitous moment to the next. And once you start living your life like that, you're actually raising the vibration of everybody around you, because you're noticing the miracles in their life. And what ends up happening is you end up kind of having this, effortless kind of existence where the intention is to stay in alignment with your higher self. Stay in alignment with divinity, get out of your own way, and let God divinity work through you. And that's the effortless piece. And that's what I mean. To the best ability that I can, I'm controlling my nervous system. So I stay calm and in a state of stillness such that I notice everything around me and I can do God's work. Right. When it comes in, right? And so that's the intention. And this book is all about how do we actually do that? Because the real world is, it's fearful and it's scary and all these bad things are going to happen, right? Well, that's a simulation. So we are living in this world that is asking us to do those things to bring out the best of us, right? If we're playing a video game, we want to have the high score and we want to have all of those, we want to go you complete one level, the next one's going to be harder, right? So let's acknowledge kind of what's going on here and recognize that if you choose and you want to, let's use the mind to allow us to see and filter the world in a way that helps us live in a heavenly state all the time, in a state of bliss, which I think is possible.
Absolutely. Now, and when you say fiction, I'm like, fiction, because it's rooted in so much truth.
It's rooted in so much truth. Yeah, but it was going to be a lot easier to publish it as fiction and avoid any potential, arguments about whether this is nonfiction or not, right? There's plenty of stories and plenty of ways that we could have created this material in a nonfiction format, but it wasn't as fun. And that's really the point, because fun and the path of joy is what really keeps us in that state. We're supposed to be there, to be here and have fun with our friends and sing and dance and laugh. That's what we're here for. And so that's what this book is about. Academy of Eternity. It's about learning to live in heaven's state. It's about learning to bridge that and keep that heart mind, right? Let's bring more of the heart into everything that we do. And we'll do it with neuroscience, NLP, hypnosis, singing and dancing in community. And we know it works. So
I love that. Yeah. I have visions all the time of like dancing around fires. Like there's some like ancestral ancient thing being awakened, and
well, and if you think about that, right, you've got the lights are down, so you're kind of automatically in an alpha state. You've got the flames, right? Now there's an element in those flames that they're dynamic and they're alive. And that to me would be more of a theta brainwave state. So when we moved into a theta brainwave state, this is when we start to lose our words. So as you're falling asleep, we go into something called a hypnagogic state. Falling asleep, we start to lose our words. Words start fading away. So when you say that, dancing around the fire, that's very kind of creating this environment where let's turn down the lights, let's sing and dance, not language like we're accustomed to it, but we have the fire that's dynamic and there aren't words, right? So it's kind of encouraging that type of non-language healing and movement.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. Well, so how can people find you and books and like all the stuff? And of course, we'll have a huge write-up on you. So
So Cascade Hypnosis Training is where everything, cascadehypnosistraining.com is where everything is right now. However, if you want to get a copy of the Alpha Sequence and kind of some of the cool new brain hack tools that we're going to be coming out, they will be launched with the book. So it's, mid-May. That's academyofeternity.com. Sites up now, but everything. Yeah. Cool. So, find me there. You could also just find me on Facebook and Instagram, Erika Flint. I'm all over. So please friend me. I like to do work that's personal, right? So I like to meet with real people and talk to real people. So for any of your listeners, just friend me, send me a message, find my stuff, and let me know what you think. Ask me questions. That's what I'm here for.
Awesome. Erika, thank you for being here on the podcast and sharing your story and all of this, because I think hypnosis is a very powerful tool and we need more of it in the world.
I agree. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks for having me here. And thanks to all your listeners too. It's just great to be here with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. And please, in the meantime, if you know anyone or you want to pitch your story, please get in touch with us at DisruptNowProgram.com, or you can get in touch with me on Instagram at DisruptWithNatalie. Of course, all of the information is on our website. Again, thank you. And in the meantime, remember, no status quo.